This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast. It's officially Jacobs Ryder Fight Week. I can't still believe I'm actually saying that, just because Danny Jacobs come in here. It's a brilliant fight, but yeah, just a bit of a random one. How did this come about, Charlie?
Well, actually, we tried calling for the Jacobs fight a couple of times since the Smith fight. And Jacobs was kind of, well, the few conversations I had with Eddie, he wasn't really too keen on coming to London. So it never really materialised. And then I think, obviously, Eddie got his new budgets through for 2022, and we were desperate for a big fight. John kept saying, I'll just fight anybody, any of the big names, just give them to me. And we sat down and Eddie said, would you fight Jacobs if I can get him to London? So he was like, absolutely. And it was between Jacobs and Rosado. So Jacobs eventually accepted the fight, and here we are in London.
Should John Ryder win this Saturday? No given against a top fighter in Danny Jacobs, but I think it's fair to say off Danny's last performance against Rosado, he didn't light up the world, and I've seen a lot of people giving John a really good chance in this. So should he come through on Saturday night, Charlie? Where are we going with John Ryder?
Well, it's a super interesting fight because everybody's kind of split over, what's Jacobs got left, and obviously where's John. So I think it's one of those fights where whoever loses probably is going to turn their back on boxing and say, that's me done. I think whoever wins is put themselves in the frame for a huge fight. It all really comes down to whatever Canelo's doing. I don't really know. I've heard a lot of rumours that he's going to go up and fight Bivol and stuff like that, so I'm not really sure. But then I heard that Andrade might be fighting Zach Parker, so that kind of opens up another belt somewhere. So we could do with the belts reopening up, and then it will give us a better direction on what route we're going to go down. But listen, if you beat Danny Jacobs, you're one of the best fighters in your division, so hopefully John can do that.
Yeah, we'll find out Saturday night. Of course, you've got Felix Cash as well, who Eddie put out, I saw a tweet saying the number one middleweight in the country. I don't know if that was a little message to Calla and Team EUBANK. Obviously had a good win over the weekend, Chris EUBANK Jr. Do you believe Felix Cash is the number one middleweight in the country?
I genuinely do. I think he's the best middleweight in the country. I think he's a world championship fighter. Obviously, I watched Liam Williams versus EUBANK. I wasn't particularly that impressed, to be honest. I thought Williams was going to put up a better fight, but I heard that he was quite weight drained going into fight week. So, and then EUBANK, although he was catching him and putting him down a few times, didn't really capitalise and finish him off. So, wasn't particularly impressed with this new Roy Jones style that he's adapted to. But listen, he's built for Felix Cash, and I think if we can make that fight, that's a mega fight. And that's one that I was talking to Felix Cash earlier about, and he was like, please just make that fight. So I said, listen, you've got to get through Saturday first. The guy he's fighting is a good fighter. He's had a good amateur pedigree. He's going to be tough, so Felix needs to make a statement.
I know EUBANK would be the target. He's a massive draw. It would be a great fight with him and Felix, but Chris EUBANK Jr. is talking about Golovkin, Murata, maybe a Billy Joe Saunders rematch, even your boy Conor Benn. So from a commercial point of view, is it going to be a difficult job to get Felix that major fight without forcing himself in a mandatory position?
Yeah, I mean, look, I know some of EUBANK's team. Obviously, I used to work at Wasserman, so I've had some conversations with people behind the scenes, and I think it's more down to EUBANK, really. Like his team need to deliver him a huge fight, and obviously he's calling for Golovkin, but Golovkin's lining up to fight Murata. We don't really know what's going on in Japan at the moment with COVID, so could that fight be made? If not, he's going to have to wait. Andrade's potentially moving, so that fight doesn't really work. So is he really going to be waiting for Kell Brook to beat Khan to try and fight him? It's a bit of one of those kind of off the cuff sort of fights. Conor Benn, obviously there's a lot of hype. Obviously we'd all love to see that fight just because it's just two legendary sons fighting each other. I don't know if he can get down to 154 where the fight needs to be made, but if there's no other options, then Felix Cash is the biggest fight out there.
And we don't know what Billy Joe's doing at the moment, so
we don't know. Do we see Billy Joe back in the ring? I'm not 100% sure, but if he doesn't, then Felix Cash is the biggest fight in my opinion.
Okay. Let's talk about Conor and Chris, because it's a great fantasy thing and it captures the public's imagination, that's for sure. But as you said, Conor Benn's on his own trajectory at the moment. He's at 47. Chris EUBANK Jr., I can't really see him making 54. He might do. He's a very fit athlete and has always kept himself in shape and lives a life. But it just seems a little bit far off for me at the moment. Would you go along with that?
Do you know what? It really comes down to what Chris can take off. He's back down at 160. Could he shave off the extra few pounds for, you know, like we're talking about mega money here. This isn't just your usual big pay-per-view card. This is like a mega Wembley Stadium sort of stuff. Could he shave off the extra few pounds to make it work? I don't know. That's up to him and his team. But what we do know is Conor Benn can definitely go up and fill into that 154 slot. The biggest question is when? When does it happen? And I think they're both on their own paths at the moment. Chris is trying to get a world title middleweight. Conor Benn's lining up for a world title welterweight. But if we can make it happen, when would it happen? And I think right now is the best time. They've both got a lot of momentum going. Chris just come off of a good win. Conor Benn's absolutely flying. I think it'll be a great time to make that fight.
Okay. Could you just fill me in on the latest with Conor Benn, please, in terms of a potential date and opponent? We know April 23rd was scheduled at the O2, but it looks like Tyson Fury and Dillian White will fall on that date. So I'm guessing you guys are going to have to move that. So the latest on Conor, please.
Yeah, I mean, they're talking about moving it a week or two earlier because they don't want to clash. There are opponents that we're still negotiating with, names like Maurice Hooker, Van Heerden, Guerrero. So it just comes down to whoever wants to take the fight and whoever's available, really. But Conor Benn wants a good name, a big name. I think Hooker's a good name because he's a former world champion. Guerrero's just come off of a good win. Van Heerden's no mug either, so any of those guys will do. I think right now the most important thing for Conor Benn is staying active. And I know that the fight fans in the UK are kind of impatient and they want to see him in these big fights. It really comes down to availability and giving Conor Benn the experience. And no doubt, at some point in 2022, we'll see Conor Benn in a mega fight with somebody like EUBANK, or we're going to see him in a world title fight.
So you mentioned three names there. You didn't mention Adrian Broner. I'm guessing he's out the picture for now.
Well, we wanted Broner, but Broner, according to Eddie Earn, is saying, "Oh man, that Conor Benn, he's so good. I need at least 2 fights before I can find him, man." It's like, listen, what do you need 2 fights for? You're a 4-division world champion. You know, why can't you fight him? But he's saying he needs more time to prepare. We're not going to wait around for Broner. We're not going to wait around for anybody. We just need to get a fight locked in, get the date locked in, and keep Conor active.
Charlie, just the last one on Conor Benn, and we'll have to ask you, a name that always crops up is David AVANESYAN. Obviously, he signed with Frank Warren, and he said Matchroom and DAZN can own the show. I won't have anything to do with it, and I'll even pay AVANESYAN's purse. So you guys will have a free opponent. You just have to look after Conor's purse. And the fans were saying that would be a great fight, Ben AVANESYAN for the European. Is that a fight that interests you guys, that appeals to you guys, to Conor, yourself and Tony?
I honestly think we've moved past it. I don't really see what AVANESYAN brings to the table anymore, or even why you would sign with Warren to come back onto a DAZN show. It just seems bizarre. You've signed with Warren, so why doesn't Warren deliver you the big fights on your own platform? Why would you want to come back onto DAZN? It's like he went to Sky and Sky couldn't deliver it for him either. It seems like all they care about is the Benn fight. But AVANESYAN says that he's a world-class fighter, so go and fight for a world title then and prove it. And maybe if you do, then we can meet up down the line. Conor Benn's on his own path. I think he's gone past European level now. He wants to fight for a world title, and that's what we're going to try and do in 2022. If AVANESYAN does come into the picture, it's really down to Conor Benn on all his terms.
Okay. And just to close off, I know you've got Cyrus Patterson on the bill this weekend as well, so just tell the viewers who might not be too familiar with Cyrus what he brings to the table and what can we expect from him this Saturday.
Cyrus Patterson's a class welterweight. He was former Team GB for 6 years. He just missed going to the Olympics. Pat McCormack was the #1 seed who went on to medal for the silver medal in Tokyo. So he's right up there when it comes to prospects and talent. He's from the Northeast, and no doubt he'll be the future or the face of the Northeast soon. So he had a bit of an unfortunate event. He was supposed to box just before Christmas, and his opponent got COVID on fight week, so they had to move at the earliest convenience, which is now Feb 12th. But he's got his opportunities to go 3-0, and he'll be back up in the Northeast again soon.
Okay, Charlie Sims, thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. Wish your three boys the best of luck at the Ali Pally this weekend, and I'm sure we'll speak on the channel soon again, all right? Top man.
Thanks, man.